This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 190. Are you a real estate agent who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan or any plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you, my friends, are in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you're new to the business or newer, or a better direction if you've been around it like me for a long time, I've created a free jumpstart course, and it's really just a simple wireframe for how to really get your business set up correctly. I wish somebody had given this to me a long time ago. It is sitting there waiting for you at freeagentgift.com, freeagentgift.com. It is the exact wireframe that I use to this very day for my own book of business, which I continue to work to this very day, and all the agents that I train at the Realty Classroom or my brokerage, the Griffin, everybody gets this, and we all try to adhere to it because it is the safe way. And you're going to see, interestingly enough today, how I talk about that wireframe right now, because that's the subject. And here we go. Does your business have a skeleton? Does your business have a skeleton? So the first point I want to talk about is the bones. And that's what I offer at freeagentgift.com. The bones. I'm just saying, look, if somebody could make you aware of how business works in general, and especially small businesses that are duplicated by many independent contractors like real estate. So the real estate agent business is the real estate agent business. And I mean at the individual level. And at that individual level, it strikes me that there are bones. After being in it for a long period of time, I became fully aware that there were bones, and the bones to my business weren't any different from another successful agent or somebody just getting started. But discovery of those bones was everything as I look back. And the reason why that was everything is because every business needs a skeleton. And how many times do we have to hear somebody rub in our faces and rub our nose in the fact that small businesses fail at this alarming rate? So we just sit there all wide-eyed and say, I hope that's not me. What do you mean you hope? Hope's not a plan. You need to understand why they fail. And they fail because most of them don't have a set of bones or a skeleton upon which the business rests. So there are all sorts of great ideas, and people come out of the box hot with all this creativity, and they have the next greatest idea, and they never really think about what Michael Gerber in his great book, The E-Myth, talks about. How does the real estate agent business really work? Well, that's a great question, and that can really lead you off into the woods, and now you can really get lost. And that's the second point here. You have to pursue the truth of how a business works. And that truth is found in the bones. So how would you answer that question if I came upon you and you were a brand new agent? What would you do? Well, you wouldn't have the answer, right? I heard a great little quip today that what you don't know is far more important than what you do know. So you have to open up this mindset of discovery. And look, we're hiring Griffin agents in 5 different states at the moment. So I'm meeting a lot of brand new agents, people that are wide-eyed and excited, and they just got their license. And whether they choose the Griffin or not, I want to meet them with the challenge right up front, as I want to meet you, and I can't even see you. You're listening to me somewhere, and you're wondering whether I'm telling you the truth, and you're trying to wrestle with this, or maybe I'm saying something that's upsetting the apple cart you're already riding. I'm just telling you there's a universal truth in any business that we should all be in pursuit of. I'm not saying that I know that truth to any set of perfect understandings. Right? I'm not there. I'm always in pursuit because, of course, truth can get more and more and more micro as you pursue it. Well, that's the fun part of it, right? But we have to admit that successful businesses have found some good footing. They've found some sort of a truth that they're able to come upon. And, a lot of you will look at that and say, well, that person's just smarter than me, or they're more privileged than I am, or they work at a better brokerage than I, blah, 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 blah. On and on it goes, right? All that nonsense. The truth is the truth, and it doesn't really have anything to do with a set of circumstances. It's out there, and it's all discoverable by anybody. Anybody can be successful in business. But of course, your mindset as you approach that discovery is everything. So if you have a poor mindset that says I can't or there isn't, and it's all this, I just did a podcast on cynicism, right? You have to be careful of that cynicism, which can come from fear and all these past paradigms. But before we go down that path, I won't. I just want to say the truth of how a business works is found in the bones. Now at freeagentgift.com, the thing that I give away, I tried to identify for myself what that bone structure might look like. So taking Gerber's work and that question, how does the real estate agent business at a one-person agent mindset work? I just broke it down to its most fundamental spot, which was one person trying to sell houses, period. And I said, what does that look like? So again, cheating from Gerber's book, he had these three mindsets that he talks about. The entrepreneurial, which is very much the creative. That's the person who wants to have this independent contractor business. They can imagine their name and lights at the top of a sign writer, even if they don't own the brokerage, and they get that entrepreneurial excitement, and that's what they want to do, and they move in that direction. The next one, which I'll identify as the gaping hole in all of our mindsets, is the manager. The manager who is going to pursue the truth of how it works and build plans that can be used so that the third persona, the technician, the person who is actually selling the houses, that person has something that they're following and they're not doing it on muscle. See, that's the beginnings of a skeletal, well, actually what it is, it's the recognition that a skeleton in that framework could work. Right? It could work. And that's really for the solopreneur, the individual. So if you think about it as an individual, that you have to have some creative vision as an entrepreneur for your business, that you're going to have to manage it. Of course, you're going to have to manage it. And of course, somebody has to do the actual work of you would call it the technician, but in our case, selling houses. Let's just simplify it that way. So there's the mindset. But if you really start to dig into what the problem is for most small businesses, if we don't understand how it works, what are we going to manage? Let that sink in. If we don't have some understanding, and this industry doesn't teach it, so I'm trying to be this lone voice in all this noise of the internet that says, look, folks, it's not rocket science either to find a universal truth of managing a small business, let alone a real estate agent business. You have to have some sort of a marketing plan. And the way that I look at marketing these days, it's not lead capture and lead generation. That's all you hear. It's like a bobblehead doll. We whack, a pontificator on the head or a guru on the head, and we got to get leads. Got to get leads. All right, we know we need contacts with people that are thinking about buying or selling. We get it, but let's just calm down for a second and say, marketing fundamentally, and how you're going to actually market your services, because that's what your business is. It's a service to help guide somebody to buy or sell a property. So you have to imagine yourself, no matter how you get the lead, per se, the contact information, known as a lead, because you don't know whether they really have a why they want to buy or sell, and you don't know how motivated they are. But what if you could get in front of them? What's the truth about that competitive moment? Well, the truth is that you do need a unique selling proposition. You do need to know, and forget about unique selling proposition because that might scare you. How am I going to be so different from all these thousands of agents? All right, let's not even go there. Forget about comparing yourself to anybody. You just need to know how to market your services, which means you just simply know how to say, here's why you should do business with me above and beyond all other options, including Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, doing nothing at all. Right? That's simple. So you start a marketing plan in a more sane way to position your services. And that's marketing 101. That's a truth about marketing in any business. You better be positioned correctly before you even market yourself to the segment of the market that you'd like to do business with. That's very logical. That's just a truth about a marketing plan that keeps it sane. Instead of, well, I've got to go out and I've got to get this, this website and it's going to get me all these leads, or I'm just going to go buy this pile of leads, or I'm going to get this list and I'm going to drop a postcard. That's insanity. All that kind of conversation is insanity. It has nothing to do with being organized in thinking, how does marketing really work in the real estate agent business? Well, the way it really works is you better know how to market your services properly. And then, sure, marketing's a tricky thing about lead capture. You can go out and buy websites that lead capture. You can buy lists that lead capture. But you really have to then start to know the context. And you have to know that the business is built around listings. Buyers are fabulous, but without listings to buy, there's no business. That's a truth too. So what are you going to do about that? You see where I'm going with this? It's not rocket science if you'll just pick your head up and think logically about the answer to the question, how does the real estate agent business really work? Not how it works for you or what your perceptions, how does it really work? That is a fabulous starting spot if you're new. Or it's a wonderful reset spot if you've been in the business a long time and you're just finding yourself so transactional. Look at the TRC, okay, I have a couple of days worth of private client work that I do. And there is not a single top producer that I coach at that level that isn't worn out, beaten up, chasing their tail, that you would perceive them to be wildly successful. And they're walking around with all the awards and the trophies and the accolades, and they're drowning. How could that be? Because you're going to just go copy what they do, you think, right? How could that be? But I'm not going to listen to him. I'm just going to copy. Well, do you know what their problem is? They also don't ask themselves, how does the business really work? How do I know that? Not just from coaching them. I'm one of them. I got really caught up in just trying to do business without a full skeleton underneath me. And over the last 10 years in particular, I have slowed everything down. I stopped listening to everybody that was giving me opinions about how the business works, and I studied it. And I came up with a simple infographic, freeagentgift.com. I'll say it again. If you never talk to me again, you never listen to me again, go to freeagentgift.com and download the infographic. It is a picture of what I believe is a skeleton. And when I say I believe it, I use that for my own business and now a scaling company that's going across the country trying to teach it and giving it away for free, trying to make the business better. Because I just wish somebody was there for me and help me with this. Now, the next point is, this doesn't mean that your creativity is lost. I'm not trying to dumb you down where you don't do it your way and you don't fall in love with your your personal brand. Let's just leave it at that. That's something that's near and dear to my heart right now. I'm working very diligently with a couple of my mastermind members and my website development partner, where we're developing a personal brand website so that we can fully express ourselves. But it is very much being incorporated into the bone structure. Personal brand has always been part of the bone structure. It's a critical component of it. But how does it fit in correctly in a business that's driven by listings? In a business that when the listing is there, you do certain things with the listings to attract the best buyers that you want to do business with. And then you're ready to tell them about your service, and on it goes, right? So you might see, and by the way, you do see a lot of different successful people, and they look very differently. Just like we as humans look completely differently, but we all have the same bone structure. It's human. What I'm talking about is biological. If there's such thing as having a biology for a business, it's that every business has the same skeleton, whether we want to admit it or not. And then you can clone it or scale it by growing it, but you have to understand it's the commonality, and the creativity comes on top of it. So your creative is built on your bones, not the other way around. You don't go out and start getting creative and then hope you can kind of put the bones together, do you? Think about the logic of what I'm saying. This is common sense. It's not rocket science, and it's made a huge difference for me. Now, the last tip here is what I do, and I really adhere to this. I have a massive creative brain, and I will tell you that I have suffered from creative ADD, attention deficit disorder, forever. I want to do so many things with my creative brain, but that was the piece of me that was wearing me out. And so I could always feel the pressure because the bone structure wasn't under the creative. But once I told you I flipped the script on it and I look for the bones in everything that I do, And even I might look at the whole structure of the arm, for example. The arm of my business might be, I'm looking at all of the micro details of the bone structure or skeleton of a personal brand. And how does that fit into my business brand? I'll separate those things out and I'll look for it. Then on top of that, I will get creative. I just sounded like Jim Rohn with his sing-songy voice, right? So that's the point. But once you find all of that, you create a routine around it. So you keep going back and understanding more and more and more about the bone structure and how it supports more and more of the creative. And when the creative doesn't align with the bone structure and something feels off or sore, you have to respect that. You have to respect that. I don't jam the square into the round hole anymore when I can feel that creative is just not in alignment with the bones, that they're pulling the bones, off alignment and something feels wrong. So I always respect what the bones are saying to me. Always. I always listen and I adjust my creative on top of that. Now, sometimes that stubborn creative who wants it his way, the inner boy, who wants to, draw outside the line. Sometimes you just can't. And you have to respect it or you're really hurting the business. And with my business and with my coaching program, all relying on me to be in that routine to demonstrate to them so that I can draw them in slowly, painfully, but certainly. I have to respect those bones. All right, let me go back and summarize this. The question on the table, it's probably a sister question to how does the real estate agent business really work? The next question is, does your business have a skeleton? That's really important, right? The points were the bones. Every business needs a skeleton. Second point, the truth of how a business works is actually found in those bones. Third point, your creative is built on your bones, not the other way around. And the fourth point was then create a routine by respecting how the bones work and stay in that routine that stays in alignment with the bones. Let me summarize it by saying it this way. At the core of any successful business is the fundamental truth that there is a best way to do things, also known as best practices. Now, of course, the outer world puts pressure on that truth and forces evolution, but there's really rarely a massive shift at that core of the skeleton. Rarely. Therefore, we must respect that truth and build a routine around it and allow our creativity to rest on top of that trustworthy structure. But of course, in spite of all that, always remember, your business needs reliable bones or it will collapse. All right, remember, you can take immediate action and get started in the right direction with our free, simple business plan that's waiting for you. I said this a lot today. freeagentgift.com. Get the bone structure picture. It's literally like looking at one of those human anatomy skeletal, posters that you would see in high school. That's what I hope this serves you to be, right? Also, don't forget, you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also post our content on YouTube, and we're really, really driving our content on YouTube these days. You're going to see me do a lot more on the front-facing websites as it ties to YouTube because I want to get this message out there to you. So don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube Realty Classroom channel, the Realty Classroom channel. Go over there, subscribe, hit the notifications, because as that builds out, I'm going to give more free content that's a little bit deeper to those that are interested, but you'll have to be a subscriber to know when that happens, all right? We'd also appreciate it if you would share our content with other real estate agents just like you so that they get the help that they need. But remember this, I sign off the same way all the time. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody's coming for you. So go get to work on your business, and we'll see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks again.